What's up, guys? This is Miasin. So today we'll be reviewing all the best hand traps that you can play for this format. I want to say this is a hand trap format for sure, not a board breaker format, contrary to what people are trying to make you believe. And if you're not playing hand traps, good luck. You'll need it. Anyways, before we go any further, you already know the drill. Like and subscribe. And with that being said, let's get right into it. So we got 4 sections. Must play, decent side option, the cards that are kind of meh, and the ones that, signing the match slip would be, just a great usage of your time instead of playing it out. So the first one is Infinite Impermanence. It's an extremely good one. Everyone knows that. It is, I want to say, what I like to call the safest hand trap, but not necessarily the best hand trap. It's still really good because you can top deck it for turn, and it really has like borderline no drawback. The one issue with Imperm is that if your opponent has Crossout Designator, your opponent can make you lose. Basically, your Imperms, they won't really have much value because you can't chain a second one from the hand in order to, to cross out. I think I expressed myself very poorly, but what I mean to say is if you have 2 Veiler and you get cross-outed on the first Veiler, you can chain the second Veiler to, like, let's say a Snake Eye Ash, but you can't do the same with Imper because now you control a card on the field. So that's the one drawback that I want to say this card has, but other than that, it's a great card. Even shuts down some floodgates every now and then, so it's cool. Ash is what I like to call the best hand trap in Yu-Gi-Oh! Just because it's super generic. Very high impact against a bunch of decks like Yubel and Despia. Against Yubel, you either use it on the Samsara D Lotus or sometimes even the field spell, and it can get you there, but against like Despia, it's usually extremely good. Unless their hand is like the nuts, then they can also play through that with like Branded and High Spirits, and the path with like Guiding Quem and stuff like that, and all the graveyard effect of the fusion monsters. That way, even without Branded Fusion, they still have everything they need. But more often than not, this card is very decent, and the fact that it's a fire for Hita is completely irrelevant. What are they gonna do? Hita revive back this and then make a princess and then link off into a link 4? Yeah, that's so scary. Oh, I'm terrified. Alright, Miradora. Okay, DD Crow, very bad. Don't play this card. This card gets so much hype for no good reason. Like, yeah, bro, this card's insane. I would even main deck. It's really bad. It has no... I mean, it's decent against, like, certain decks like Purely, but every deck, for the most part, where DD Crow is good, Bystials are also good, but Bystials are much better than DD Crow when they're good because they're also bodies and they do something on the field. They generate you advantage. DD Crow, it's not good enough, so I don't like this card. I do not recommend playing it whatsoever, even though it does have some very niche, decent applications. It might be good in the future, though. This is I forgot. Contact C, is it? I think. No, it's really bad, but it might be good in the future, like if it's like a Kashtira format or something. I don't know. Retaliating C, it does have some potential. I mean, it's also decent against Purely. These 2 cards are good against the deck that, I mean, it's a good deck, don't get me wrong, but I don't think a lot of people will be playing it. So if you're trying to also use this against like Snake Eye, it's only really good when they got Snake Eye, original Sinful Spell Snake Eye, because it's not utilizable on the Tract. Even though Tractus kind of special summons a monster, it summons the Luri, but what it really does is that it searches it, and then it discards it, and then the Luri summons itself. Otherwise, I want to say this card would have been pretty decent. Ghost Mourner is either the worst must-play hand trap or the best decent side deck option, just because this card is weak. It's really bad, but the thing is you gotta play it, because at least if your opponent's only starter is Diabellstar, you can use it to negate like the Snake Eye Ash summon off of it, or even the Diabellstar, and that's not too bad. But the card itself is just so garbage. Like, when it's your only hand trap, you want to cry. If your opponent goes normal summon Snake Eye Ash effect, and this is the only hand trap in your hand, I'm sorry for your loss. That's all I gotta say. Okay, Nibiru is also anywhere between the end of must play and the very top of decent side deck option, but I think Nibiru would have to be there just because, like, in real life, a lot of people don't really respect Nibiru because they also have to deal with, like, psychological pressure, like the stress and everything. So usually people don't really count their summons, or they don't really sequence their plays optimally. It's not like in Dueling book where people have all the sweet time in the world. They have no stress. There's no like mind games. So Nibiru is better in real life than in Dueling book and online simulators. But the reason why Nibiru is not at the top is because if it's like your one and only hand trap, it's really weak against both Snake Eyes and Yubel, just because all their combos beat Nibiru. Other than like Populous, the 1-card combo, and I think Dark Beckoning Beast might lose to Nibiru, but I'm not 100% sure on that, so yeah, don't quote me on there. But yeah, Samsara D Lotus, it beats Nibiru because it gets the Phantom of Yubel, and Snake Eye Ash, Diabellstar, etc. You get Divine Temple, and then you can float, etc. So it's really, it doesn't do enough. Artifact Lancia is very interesting. This one also has some potential in the future. So what I find interesting about this card is that what it is to Ritual Beast is what Shifter is to graveyard-based decks. This card wipes the floor with Ritual Beast. It's pretty much like a D-Bearer from the hand. all they can really do would be like Bagus Capas or IP Masquerena Pass, assuming that their hand is decent enough, which IP Masquerena not even. They would need like 3 monsters. SP Little Knight Pass is like really garbage. If you got this also, it overrides a Shifter. This card is stronger than Shifter. It's not like Jinzo and Royal Decree where the first one that hits the field is the winner. This one, it's like, regardless of who was used first, Lancia will always prevail, but it's honestly not really relevant, so I don't really recommend it, at least right now. If Ritual Beast gains in popularity, this card might be not too bad. And I did consider playing this card with Artifact Sanctum in order to be evenly matched and stuff like that. Psyframe Gear Gamma is honestly not bad. But the thing is, you would have to also play Delta, because otherwise, if you're playing like 1 good card to 1 bad card, really bad ratio, like you got a 50-50 shot of just getting screwed over, which is obviously really shit. But yeah, Gamma, I think, obviously broken when you do resolve it going second. Going first, not so much. Unless you get Drolled on like a search card, then it's not too bad, or Ashed, I guess, or whatever. This card's not really super reliable, so I can't say too many positive things about it. Okay, Bystials in general are cards that you probably have to be side decking this format. If you're not, you have a huge disadvantage, but I want to say, arguably, you can main deck Bystials and get away with it. Because even the Fire deck, the Snake Eye Fiendsmith deck, is also a light deck because of the Fiendsmith engine. And I want to say the 2 best decks, they equally lose to Bystials. Yubel maybe even more, because even their engine loses to Bystials, where Snake Eye not really. But even then, you can use this on the IP Masquerena on the graveyard when they try to target it with Flamberge. This card in combination with Nibiru is also insane. So I want to say Bystials are extremely good, especially if you draw like Magnamut and Drua's Worm. These 2 are like the really good ones. Ghost Ogre is actually really bad. I can't find anything super positive to say about it. I know people keep hyping it up because it's good against Tenpai Dragon, but even then, like, okay, sure, it's actually better against Yubel than it is against Tenpai Dragon, if anything. But even then, if they draw like a 2-card combo, then it does nothing. And against Tenpai Dragon, if they have also a 2-card combo, it also does nothing. Because they don't necessarily have to use the effect of the field spell. They can just activate it, and then summon a bunch of things while they have the field spell, and then they're protected from Ogre, and then they can go battle phase, still protected. Well, I mean, not anymore in battle phase, but they were before, and then they can kill you. And the Ogre honestly doesn't do too much. I mean, I've showcased combos where you can have like Ogre and all the good hand traps against Tenpai Dragon, and it's not enough if you sequence your OTK correctly. So honestly, this card is just overhyped. It's not like super garbage, but it's definitely not good. Ghost Reaper is gimmicky. I mean, it's the definition of gimmicky because you gotta play the extra deck monster that you're trying to reap with the card, meaning that it's just like it's only really good in mirror matches, and even then, it would be like a huge stretch to say that this card is good because extra deck nowadays, there are like 15 different one-ofs, whereas back in the days, it wasn't really the case. When you look at like Burning Abyss, a deck that really lost to Ghost Reaper, it's because they really relied on Dante to play. When they got like one specific monster that they always have to go into every single time, and they don't really do much other than summoning that monster, then Reaper is good. And also, when you Reaper Dante, you're also Reapering Beatrice, so you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. But in the Snake Eye deck, you're not really doing that. If you remove their IP Masquerena, they're fine just going to an SP. Obviously, they lose 1 interruption, but at the same time, you lose 1 card from your hand. So is this the best value? I don't think so. So yeah, this card will eventually be good one day when like one specific good deck will require 1 specific extra deck monster, but this card is terrible right now. Skullmeister is garbage, honestly, can't say anything good about it. Ghost Bell is also kind of a decent side deck option, but a little bit of a stretch because it's only really good against like the rogue decks or like the meta decks that are less anticipated. Like, it's not great against Snake Eye, it's not fantastic against Yubel either, somewhat playable against the Runic Stun to a certain extent, and it's very good against Labyrinth, extremely good against Labyrinth. I want to say this is where it performs the best. But other than that, this card is usually like way worse to draw than Ash and stuff like that. And even Bystials. Bystials are way better than Ghost Bell. So yeah, the card's not like super trash, but it's really just a side deck option. I think main decking Ghost Bell would never make sense. And if you do main deck the card, it has to just be a one-of for cross-out. Otherwise, I want to say it's incorrect. Psyframe Delta is in the same boat as Gamma. Obviously, I can't really talk about one without talking about the other. And I just realized, oh, this was Contact C. Yeah, okay, so this is something else. I forgot. It's also like a C confronting the C, maybe? I forgot. This one has to be the one that summons itself. Oh, no, this is Flying C, and this is Contact C, Retelling C, I think. There's way too many Cs. And there's also this now, and the other one, oh my god. Hopefully we never get Max C back. I think Max C might get banned in the OCG too, because they can't have like 9 Max Cs running around in the game. But yeah, no, this yeah, this card was the card I was talking about when I mentioned this one, so yeah. Whatever, I think they're in the same boat, though. Okay, Phantasme is also kind of interesting. It has to... Like, this card is really, like, deck-building dependent. Like, if you play a lot of board breakers and you draw into them, then it's good. But if you draw into, like, hand shops off of Phantasme, usually it's bad. Unless you draw into, like, Nib and Bystials, which can still be used. But if you draw into, like, Imperm or Veiler, then it's really bad. Because by the time you Phantasme your opponent, the majority of the choke points for the smaller hand shops, it's already over. Same thing with like Droll and Logbird. Your opponent already searched after he summoned the Link monsters, because you look at Snake Eye, for example, their main choke points are the very first things that they do, not like way later when they finally summon Link monster. So yeah, this card is just the timing that I don't like. If anything, the Rescue Ace package might be more interesting. I think it's Impulse and Fire Attacker or something. I forgot the name of the... It might be a level 7. It's not bad, honestly. You can test it out. Dimension Shifter is a must-play if your deck can play it, but obviously if you can't, then it is what it is. But this card is quite clearly the best hand trap in the game. The issue with Shifter is that decks that can't play Shifter, without Shifter, they suck. Like, you take Flundereeze, for example. Without Shifter, it's Featherstorm or Bust. And without those two cards, it's like a tier 7000 deck. It's really, really, really bad. It's actual garbage. So yeah, no, I really don't like this card. I really hope it gets banned. Thank you, Konami, for banning this in advance. I really appreciate it, because obviously they will do it, you know? Just a matter of time. Copium. Yeah, they're probably not gonna ban this card, unfortunately. Yo, you know what? 10,000 likes on this video, and this card has to get banned. There you go. Droll and Logbird is also kind of like in the same boat. I mean, I think it's a really good card, honestly. It's comparable to Nibiru, because it's like a high-impact hand trap that either does a lot or does very little, because they can still combo. Like, if they have, like, normal summon Snake Eye Ash effect, and you only have Droll, doesn't do too much. Same thing with Nibiru. And then, you know, Imperm and stuff like that. You know, you know for a fact that at least it does something, but then when your opponent has the extender, then you look like a dumbass. But Droll, your opponent can have all the extenders in the world, and usually they do nothing. So that's what I really like. If you got Droll with another hand trap, it can be good. Droll and Nibiru is game over. It's extremely good against pretty much all the combo decks out there. Okay, now we got Mulcharmy Purulia. I don't know about main decking this card. Maybe might make sense if you got like some discard fodder. But in the side deck, I think it's pretty good, because if you can draw a bunch of cards and refund like your investment by your opponent's normal summon, and also draw into a hand trap and then decide if you want a hand trap or something, it might be good. But it also has some conflicting with, let's see, Droll, for example. If you draw both, like, what the hell do you do? Do you Droll and then you don't draw with this? I don't know. It's just really awkward. Effect Veiler is obviously worse than Imperm, but the card is still good. It's still not once per turn, so drawing multiples doesn't feel bad. Contrary to this freaking card right here, I hate you, Mourner. I always love drawing like 3 Mourner in my deck, even though I don't play 3. I play 4 Mourners. Anyways, this is a Chaos Hunter. It's garbage. No, just don't play this card. It's just really bad. So yeah, that's pretty much all I had for this video. Pretty short and sweet. Don't really have much to cover. So you guys let me know how you feel about the hand traps that we currently have access to at our disposal this format. So I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.